So, what did you think about the glam scene in LA in the early 80s?
I'd said a long time ago, glam stood for gay LA metal. And, you know, I mean, if you have to dress up like a chick on stage to get people to come and check you out, you gotta ask yourself, first off, you got unresolved issues, and second off, I mean, is your music even really that good?
God, we hated those bands. We hated Quiet Riot and Poison and Warrant and Bon Jovi and Motley Crue. I mean, hated those bands.
We despised it. Everything at that time was very black and white. Either you loved it or it was this.
I never understood it. It seemed like all the guys did everything they could to look more feminine.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to get lipstick on you there.
I come from a family where men are men and women are women, and there ain't no middle ground.
What was going on was a new generation of kids coming through who wanted serious, straightforward, undiluted metal.
The 1980s was the first time heavy metal found itself in the limelight. Quiet Riot went #1, and just about every band with a striking frontman and a sappy ballad found themselves with a platinum record. But metal was never supposed to be pretty, and a growing number of kids began to resent this glossy status.
For me, it was more about the music than getting laid. I'd rather have a great riff and a great song and feel good about it than just have my
And so the underground organized, dropping the glitz and reviving the evilness of Sabbath and the chops of Iron Maiden. It was called Thrash, and 4 bands quickly rose to prominence. From New York, Anthrax.
We enjoyed playing fast. We wanted to go faster. That simple. Let's go. What can we do?
From Huntington Park, California, Slayer.
You can only write and embellish upon things you know about, and I'm a big horror movie fan. Boing, you know, and I gotta kill people.
From LA, Megadeth.
It was actually getting it on your guitar. Like it or not, we exposed the United States and the rest of the world, for that matter, to this type of music.
There's only one thrash band around that I know of, and that's Metallica, which they're playing tonight at 7:30, and I suggest that everybody gets down here right now and see the best thrash in the United States of America!
And the leaders of the revolution, Metallica.
With the exception of 3 godfathers of metal, Sabbath, Priest, Maiden, possibly the next most important band in the last 20 years, as far as metal is concerned, is definitely Metallica. What Metallica did was combine new wave of British heavy metal with punk. You ended up with an American Motorhead to some extent, and the kids were relating to them because they were different.
Every time they came out with a record, it was just miles ahead of where everybody else was. Whatever combination they had, I think, between Lars and James, I mean, those two are, I mean, they're the Mick and Keith of metal.
Lars Ulrich and James Hetfield were 2 kids with very different backgrounds that shared a passion for hardcore metal and a hatred for the glam scene. Together, they plotted a revolution behind enemy lines, Los Angeles, California.
It was 1982, and Motley Crue had just put out Too Fast for Love. I remember one night out in front of the Troubadour, we're standing there in our Iron Maiden t-shirts, and it was like, after a couple of, you know, Colts or Schlitz malt liquors, or what, it was like, you saw, like, Nicky and Tom, it was like, Motley Crue. I remember, like, Nikki Sixx started chasing after me, and the one thing I could do, because, you know, 5'6" of me, I could, like, run faster than he could in his 16-inch platform boots, so it wasn't a contest there.
LA just didn't treat us well. We had this aggressive style, and I recall at the Troubadour, there was a security guy throwing chairs at us, you know, at sound check, going, "Get out of here, you punks." You know, they thought we were punk rock, you know. We'd be up on stage playing, and people were fluffing their hair over at the bar. And that's not what music was for us. We're gonna play louder, we're gonna play faster. We want some attention. So really, all the posers in LA helped develop our style.
This one is gonna kill all the fake people out there, all the posers.
Let me tell you, we go way back with Metallica, Rat. Because at the time, our drummer was rehearsing with Lars. Those guys hated what was happening. But I remember backstage, James went, "F that, we won't play with them, F those guys, F that." And it was like, whoa, why? Aren't we all one happy big metal family? No. They're the next breed.
He was like, here we are, there is no bull playing what we feel and playing what's in our hearts, and we don't give a what we look like or smell like or play like.
Metallica had the attitude and the ambition, but in LA what they lacked was an audience. Too punk for the metal clubs and too metal for the punk clubs. They were either ridiculed or ignored. In 1983, just as hair metal was exploding on the pop charts, the band relocated to San Francisco. Later that year, Metallica released its first album as a challenge to hair bands everywhere. Its title, Kill 'Em All.
We were gonna call the album Metal Up Your Ass, but the damn record companies would not take it. So I want you all to repeat after me. Metal Up Your Ass!
Their first record was as metal as you can get and with more attitude and this and that, and everybody's been influenced by it.
I bought Kill 'Em All by Metallica going through the import section in my vinyl record store, and I picked it up and I turned around, I go, these are the ugliest humans I've ever seen in my life. I have to buy this. I think like James had like a wart on his cheek and Lars, and I go, man, this is definitely not a glam metal band.
Thank God for Metallica. They were the best thing of the 80s, I thought. Brought it back to the spirit of Sabbath. You know what I mean? It's like if we started it, then they reinvented it.
The torch had been passed, and throughout the 80s, Metallica released a slew of classic albums. Though they never managed to outsell Motley Crue and Poison during this time, they were gaining credibility. In 1988, with hair metal fading, Metallica was nominated for the first Metal Performance Grammy Award.
I'm Kurt Loder back with another Grammy report. And one of the biggest names making its TV debut tonight is Metallica.
I mean, it was just mind-boggling. Sitting up there and looking at, Stevie Wonder sitting down there and, Michael Jackson and, it was just like, wow.
Metal was about to have its day at the Grammys, and the winner was...
Jethro frickin' Tull wins. Jethro Tull has never been a metal band. At that point, I don't even think they were really a band.
It didn't dent the evening at all. It was more like a week later when the storm and the backlash and all that was like, Metallica got robbed after hearing, 500 people tell you that and reading in every, magazine and newspaper and publication, Metallica got. It's like you're sitting there going, we got.
That sort of cluelessness just continually haunts heavy metal. And there is still, amongst a lot of people in the press, this elitist attitude. Heavy metal has never, ever been given the respect and credit it deserves. And in some ways, it's probably what makes it so near and dear to the people who love it.